Good day to you. We begin our midday broadcast, and today the word of the Lord came as there were sort of, what shall I say, pillars, maybe there were lighthouses, and the Lord was stretching out, I had to call it a network, a grid of heavenly interaction over the nations. But they look like white ropes. So and they conducted the light from each station, so to say, and it could be that those lighthouses or the stands were the remnant church in every city, praying and holding on to the Lord for the kingdom of the Lord to come prevail. And the cords that were extended and the grid work were the Christians. They are praying, interacting, witnessing, interceding, prophesying. The daily word they read have become a redemptive network. And then I saw a furious scene down here in the life ways of the people. A real flood. I felt like it was a flood out of the mouth of the serpent in Revelation 12:13, because his time is short, and the Lord was stretching out a bridge, a real old-fashioned one with planks, and suspended by cords from heaven, from this redemptive grid. But then there was this marvelous, massive, modern bridge, with all the tech stuff, and the people of the world were so enamored with it. A bridge no one could sink, and it'll be forever, like the Titanic, for instance, and a happening place. And Christians were so lured by this that they were also most happening. For believers were also on that modern bridge of enterprise. They said, we have to keep working, we have to keep doing, join the sports, the entertainment, we can't be separated, we must look like others, and they gave all kinds of reasons to be able to witness to others. We have to be with them, justifying their compromise and all that. But I could see from a vantage point, a bird's eye view, I could see that the flood emanating from the mouth of the serpent was getting ferocious, and the fumes, and even when that Modernity bridge was a little rocking and shaking, people said it's part of the game. Yes. And they continued. But the Lord, but that praying remnant, they were praying and singing with the Lord. They were expecting the Lord to interact, and the global predators were they really thought their day had come, that they could get all the populace, all the nations' resources, all the nations of the world, that they have got into their grip. That's what they thought. And with the virus and the vaccine and abortion, LGBTQ, all the stuff going on, and so many believers agreeing with this stuff. But there was this bridge, and there was that wise remnant. It looked old-fashioned, but it was suspended from heaven, plank by plank, word by word, intercession by intercession, it hung. And they knew their life work was this, and they were at it. And maybe Isaiah 58 best describes for us how we are to operate in these times. Isaiah 58 verse 6, is this not the fast which I chose? So why a fast? A different kind of living. Not being so entertained, so industrious in the world's way, but giving 51% of your energy and industry to God's way. How God may be planning to keep His people alive. How God may be planning His witness at this time. Times had really come. And the Christians were also so engaged in this modern enterprise. They had very little time for intercession, prophecy, witness, or reading the word, so little time. And then there was And so the Lord said, for the elect's sake, I'm going to shorten the days. Matthew 24:22. Luke 18:7, the Lord said, when the elect cry to me day and night, the just judge of heaven, the Father, will he not hear? What's the delay then? What's the delay? People are asking, why is America burning? That issue has burned even decades ago. People are trying to father the trouble on President Trump, but President Trump was not there when Martin Luther King was shot dead. Upbringing cities have burned for a long time with this, that and the other. But here we are. In our day, what do we do in our day? Of course, every death is terrible, especially death at the hands of the police, terrible. But then begins the whiplash, the system that is ready to strike and take over global control. Now the invasion has come through health, debt trap, entertainment industry, promoting the global values that obliterate national boundaries, that obliterate the family. That's what abortion, LGBTQ is doing. Separate children from parents, the digital screen, every other trick of a very successful trade. And then medical journals in the hands of medical moguls, the fake press, so quick to report the fake. In a way, it keeps the global Nephilim predators on active, engaging everything, squeezing out nation's life. But the remnant is praying. It's a real tough time, as I can see. How will the battle go in your nation? Because I saw in some cities that heaven's gridwork of redemption was stronger. In other cities, it looked almost thin out. And then some who are on that modern bridge of modernity, began to see the bridge shaking, the floods rising. It was a fearful scene, and they realized the game is up. We have invested unwisely, and they said, please help us. And I see in Africa, in Asia, in South America, many heads of nations saying, oh God, King of heaven, King of every nation, Father of every nation, we didn't believe in you, but a time has come. If we are to hold our nations and feed our populace, we'll have to have your help. Global predators are so strong. They had planned everything to take over. Then came COVID. Then came the shutdown. We know Revelation 18:8 says there will be pestilence and plagues causing global shutdown. Every economy of every city will be shut down. We are not happy about it. We are deeply grieved. But then the plan was out. How the global system, politics, economics, the religion, the mystic, the spook, the magic, all spoofed through entertainment, music, the real perverted industry, and all the stuff that goes on. It came out, and it came to a stop. Now when the world begins, we know the fury will begin again. But at least God has sent out summons to his own, saying, wake up. We are living between God's summons and God's warrant officers going out, the angels. And then when the nations began to cry out, even a head of state, I found, and from that lattice, that's the word, grid, the lattice of redemption. And the darkness of the nations were getting darker. Like in Isaiah 25:7, the dark shroud over the nations. But then there were redemptive strands also working itself out. And from it dropped down like a lifeline, and it gripped the person's head like like a cap, and took him out and replanted him in the bridge of life. Bridge of life. It looked old-fashioned. It didn't look as if it had any chance in the modern struggles, but it was suspended from heaven. Family prayer time, reading the scriptures in the morning, reading the scriptures in the evening, good old-fashioned koinonia and fellowship, sticking to your church, family prayer time, sticking to old spirituality that worked for Paul the Apostle or for Noah before the flood. And that held out. And then when the modern bridge was cracking up, that was all the intention of the serpent. Make it rollicking, furious and fast, raging against God and swallow them up. Then people cried out. They lost all, but they were saved. But we have chosen for eternity. A day will come when everybody will have to worship the King of Kings. But we have chosen that ahead of time. So our investments are safe. Our savings are safe. We were wise to lay our treasure in heaven, where the moth cannot eat, the rust cannot corrupt, and thieves cannot tunnel into it to steal. And I saw pouring from heaven an oil as a Christian in a place of governance, he was crying out saying this unjust system of corruption that has corrupted the whole world. The Babylon system, taking into her embrace, seduction, rulers, executive, legislature, judiciary, whatever, manufacturers, the trade system, the health system, everything. But then, when there's a Christian in a Daniel's place with the golden sword, God pours down the oil, and the oil of heaven engages this corrupt machinery on earth, and the rust is dissolved away. Nations begin to breathe again with fair play and justice. Who sent it? Oil of heaven. Today is the day of Pentecost. We need the oil of heaven. Every Christian in any place of influence and significance, cry out for the oil of heaven. Every dad and mom crying out for the oil of heaven coming down and dissolving away the corrupt systems that have engaged the minds of children, minds of young people, engaged all systems of corruption, private sector, public sector, all together by the oil of heaven. Oil of heaven comes down and dissolves away the corruption, and the machinery begins to function again. The sheep kind overtake the goat kind. That's what Isaiah 58 has. Is this not the fast which I chose to loosen the bands of wickedness, to undo the bands of the yoke, and to let the oppressed go free and break every yoke? So once again, God's people are saying, let God's people go free. And all nations are God's people, sheep kind. But the goat kind, goat herd, had its day for a long, long time. With Keynesian economics, driving demand, driving supplies, and over 40 years, we have ruined what we had for 400 years. Nothing left for generations. God is crying, we are weeping, but God is God. God is God. Man is man, God is God. Yes. Yes. It is now to divide your bread with the hungry. So the sheep kind begin to attend on the hungry. And who caused the hungry? The goat kind, with all kinds of innovations, stopped the grain, grew cash crops, then patented seeds, so difficult to buy, so difficult to get a harvest, lots of agrochemicals, cooked up the conspiracy that is on to take the world, remove the gene pools out of the nations, remove agriculture rights out of the nations, and take it all into the hands of a global few, all with the help of local legislators who will play ball with a global system. That's the battle. Family, to ruin the family, ruin the nation, and take it over. God begins governance in the family. God begins governance in the nation. Then when you weaken the family, weaken nation's resources, yes, then the global plan can work. But God is on the move, and He has set up His lampstands, out of which He is drawing out the redemptive grid, and is operating to save the nations, operating to save the nations, save heads of states. Who knows what God can do? We bless God for Scott Morrison just in time in Australia. And same thing can happen to other heads of states. Yes. So a little more, because this is so much. Isaiah is giving a preview or a prophecy on Matthew 25:31, where the nations are summoned, the goat kind on one side and the sheep kind on the other side. Sheep kind, those who save, because they have the heart of the shepherd. In the executive, in professions, workplaces, sheep kind, who save, benefactors, who think of the next generation, who think of the beneficiaries. We are equipped. We are skilled, we learn, we are trained not to be rapacious, but to be serving. That's the sheep kind. There's a real battle on. Please understand, Christian, time is far spent. Time is far spent. 11th hour may be just around the corner. So better be in our positions. Better be in our positions, you know. What happened to the Titanic? Even the watch was not on his perch. He was drooping off, and the man who was sending the Morse code, the telegraphs, he was telegraphing his fiancée. And when HMS Carpenter said an iceberg is looming, and he kept sending signals, the man, the one who should have alerted said, "Shut up, you stupid," because he was telegraphing his fiancée, and the ship sank. But then we have a God of redemption. We are working with Him. In every nation, in every city, believers must arise and pray for your oikos, the near dear ones, that they will come out of this modernity's mess, modernity's mesmerization, the fake news, believing everything the fake news says. And it is so hard for a Christian to remain Christian when he gets on the social networks, the social media. They behave just like the unbeliever. Bad language, fights, squabbles, that's not our place. I'm not saying don't be on the social media, but on it for God's sake, witness sake, Christ's sake, salt's sake, light's sake. That's what we have to be. So Isaiah 58:8, then your light will break forth. Yes, beg your pardon. Isaiah 58:7, is it not to divide your bread with the hungry, bring the homeless poor into the house, when you see the naked to cover him? Yes, so you can see it's just like Matthew 25:31, the sheep-goat separation. Verse 8, Isaiah 58:8, then your light will break out like the dawn, and your recovery will speedily spring forth, and your righteousness will go before you. The glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. You will cry, and He will say, here I am. If you remove the yoke from your midst, the pointing of the finger, speaking wickedness, yes. If you give yourself to the hungry, satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then your light will rise in darkness. You believe this? Christian, these are the best days to live on earth. I'm appealing to you. 10% Christianity will not work. 51% of your energy, your gift, your talent, and your intellect, give it to Christ. Give it to Christ. This is my passion. You know, I was first in the island of Sri Lanka in my A-level admissions to the medical faculty. And in the medical faculty, I was batched up in every exam. But thank God, when I was young, I didn't believe in God. When I sat for the A-level, soon after that, my heart changed. A dear friend, I argued with him, playing chess, but my heart turned. I understood when my brain was becoming smarter, my heart was getting wickeder, selfish. That's how it is. I turned to Christ, and thank God He gives you intellect to serve Him, and He gives you spirit to serve Him. This is our mission now, and this darkness can be defeated. And satisfy your desire in scorched places. Give strength to your bones. You will be like a well-watered garden, spring of water whose waters do not fail. This is God's promise to us. But 51% of your energy for God enterprise, 49% for your enterprise. Is that enough? Yes, enough. This is the time to seek His kingdom first, and there is a golden flow of oil from heaven to come down, so that every Christian will occupy his workplace, will occupy his work field, neighborhood, and may our relatives, school friends, loved ones hear and feel the shaking. May they be warned. We have to witness. And they are open now. They are open now. They are open because times are difficult. They are open now. They will come to the light. If you want our clips anymore, plus 94 77 49 59 214. We will send you COVID science clips. We will send you spiritual clips, and also my research area in digital science. You can also go to the YouTube and Google. YouTube, you'll find Dr. Lalith Mendis plus anything digital. And my blog is drlalithmendisblog.wordpress.com. So this is the redemptive plan God has. And our position, the bridge, that life bridge we are on, is suspended from heaven. Of course, we work on earth. We are ambassadors. We are the salt and the light. But our moorings, our anchorage, we have already placed it in Christ. And He will draw us to the best height God has for us. And we'll be shining lights in our neighborhood, work fields, workplace. God bless you. May you be strong. Thank you.